Do you actually follow your team leader, your manager, your CEO? How about your governor? How about the president? You see, how can we have so many so-called leaders while nobody's following them? We all seem to know that leadership is important, that great leaders lead to a better world. This is why organizations and government agencies spend billions of dollars every year developing leadership. Yet, very few of us would say that the world is heading towards a better place. But today we know more about leadership than ever before. Just in the last 50 years, there are literally thousands of leadership theories being created. How come we still fail to produce powerful and effective leaders? In this video, I will share with you why. Hi, my name is Dennis and I care about this world deeply. This channel is where I share my life findings. This is a series about leadership. In here, I will share with you original and unique insights that will help you to understand and take advantage of the phenomenon. In this first video, I want to share with you the current limits of our leadership thinking, answering the question of why leadership development doesn't work. When I say leadership development doesn't work, I want to be clear. It does develop many things, such as confidence, communication skills, and personal charisma. During the program, you are very likely to feel empowered. You become more aware and attentive to the needs of the people you lead, and you become better communicators. So at the end of the program, you are likely to feel more confident and more comfortable in your leader position, which is quite important. But unfortunately, that is not enough, because leadership is about a whole group of people's journey towards a goal. If after the program, the team did not become more motivated, more effective, and more efficient on their journey towards the goal, then this was not leadership development. But what consistently happens is that when the leader comes out of the leadership development program, he or she feels more empowered, and that became the success story. That became the highlight. That really became what the organization paid for. But then when you ask the colleagues, the subordinates, most of them still don't see the individual more of a leader than before. I mean, the subordinates still follow orders, but not because they follow this individual leader. It is because it is their job to follow orders. They follow a higher position regardless who holds that position. The person did not become more of a leader. They did not want to work more than before. Of course, they feel happy that the manager became more enthusiastic about his or her goal, but it does not make real difference to the employees. Of course, the manager became more caring, more attentive. The employees appreciate that, but they still would not do any more than the job requires. So why is that the case? The first very important reason is that the leadership development professionals are not highly competent leaders themselves. This is important because leadership is a skill. Think of swimming. The more competent you are at swimming, the better you are at helping someone else to learn how to swim. But leadership development professionals are not leaders. No, they are followers of leadership theories. They learn about leadership from how leadership theories describe a leader, such as confidence, communication skills, personal charisma, and then they use psychological tools and techniques to train the people who imitate these qualities, attributes, and skills, and call this leadership development. But think about this. There are millions of confident and assertive people in the world. Are they all leaders? Of course not. There are millions of loving and caring people in the world. Are they all leaders? Not at all. So what makes these traits, attributes, and skills the causes of leadership? What if the theory is wrong? And they are. Leadership theorists is also not a successful leader. They did not repeatedly succeed in leading in different circumstances. They are instead observers of a skill such as swimming. They watch swimmers and they try to identify things they see and then interpret what they see from their perspective, which is the perspective of someone who doesn't know the skill from inside. This is why a lot of academic interpretation of leadership is wrong or wildly inaccurate. So let me give you some examples. When academics study successful leaders, they look for patterns. And they found things like, hey, they're all confident, they're all assertive, and they're all charismatic. And then they conclude these qualities and skills must be what make great leaders. But because they are not practitioners, they are not leaders, and they are not developing their leadership, they very easily ignore the experience of being a leader, experience of being in a crowd. They don't realize that successful leaders, because they are successful, they are already surrounded by a whole group of people who not only accept them, but celebrate them, who are there to listen to the leader. They already know that whatever the leader says is important. And very often the leader has proven his or her own worth to the people. So the people would follow whatever order the leader gives them. Imagine this. If you are the shyest person in the world, if I put you in an environment where everyone accepts you, everyone celebrates you, everyone thinks what you say can be important, and whatever you want to say, they are there to listen. They are there to give you all the attention. No matter how shy you are, after a while in that environment, you'll no longer be shy. Because you know it is safe in that environment to be who you are. After a while, you become more and more confident. And you become more and more assertive in what you have to say, because you know the environment has told you that what you say has value. On the other hand, I don't care how confident you are right now, but if I put you in a group where nobody cares about what you have to say, nobody want to listen to you, nobody want to give you the time of day. When you speak confidently, who do you speak to? Who is listening? Guess what? After a while, it's very likely you'll lose your confidence, because you know nobody cares about what you have to say. They may not even care about you. And then as time goes by, you probably stop sharing who you are. When things occur, you don't share your thoughts because nobody wants to hear them anyway. And you feel that your thoughts do not matter. In other words, a successful leader is confident, is assertive. It's not because confidence and assertiveness created leadership. Not at all. It is because leadership already occurring. The group already follows. The group already respects and celebrates the leader. That's how the leader within the group is confident, is assertive. By ignoring the environment, the academics mistaken the confidence and assertiveness of a leader, which is attached to the group's reactions and responses to this person, with the confidence of a person that gained the confidence in somewhere else. So now let's talk about charisma. Salespeople are experts in personal charisma. It is their job to move people with words, to be persuasive so that they can make a sale. But that is not the same as leadership. You see, leadership scholars, when they decide that leaders are charismatic, it's very often they observe events such as great speeches that are done by Abraham Lincoln, by Nelson Mandela, by Martin Luther King, right? When they see the leader speak and the crowd rallies and they go crazy, they make it mean that great leaders can use words as skills to bring motivation, to move people. In other words, they became sellers of dreams, of goals, of futures. You see, many academic studies can't tell the difference between charisma as a skill, which means someone intended to use the words and actions to influence you. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody did not intend to inspire you, but they did? Because a lot of leaders did not even intend to be leaders. They did not even intend to inspire you, but they do. Why? It is because the things they say, the decisions they make, the actions they take, or their way of being resonates with you, with what you believe, or with the person you want to be, or with the world you want to create. These people can represent something for you without even intentionally try to persuade you, try to manipulate you, try to empower you, inspire you. But you are inspired by who they are because of you. Leadership is a long journey. It's not just one sale. You have to continue for months, for years, and for decades. What keeps people moving is what truly matters to them continuously. It is not one or two moments of persuasion manipulation can do. One thing many of these theorists also mistaken is that when they look at a speech, they fail to realize that this great leader is not charismatic about everything. They're only charismatic about whatever they're talking about. Just one social cause, for example. This is not transferable onto sales, for example, onto some boring work they don't care about. You can't get Martin Luther King Jr. to be so passionate about any organizational goal, to any KPI. That is crazy. And then when leadership development people go develop managers, how many managers really care about that KPI? How many of them really passionate about the company goal? Most of them are not, right? They are also doing their job. It's their job to care. And then imagine if you don't care about it that much, how do you persuade others to care? So this charisma training became exactly what salesperson does, which is about manipulation of words. So then the manager come back. They try to persuade their people to care about something that they actually don't. And that is why they fail. Because they don't even care about it that much themselves. Because everyone is just doing their job. Nobody is following anything. Nobody had a real cause. This is different from real great leadership. The charisma that a leader has is attached to the cause. It's not merely the skill of manipulating words to move people. But imagine if you have a cause, but someone else doesn't care. The more powerful you are, the more they stay away from you. So leadership has a lot to do with resonation with each other than what you do as an individual leader. So this is why a lot of leadership theories are wrong about leadership. And then leadership development that try to replicate what these theories describe also don't work. What they actually did is to create a Frankenstein's monster type of leader, which is the appearance of a leader. What these people really learned is actually how to get attention, how to look like you're a good leader. So at the beginning, they get expectation high. They actually works because the people want to listen to them. They think, hey, this person looks like he or she knows what they're talking about. But as time goes on, they fail, they lose the room because manufactured attention does not last. And this is when the individual leader actually disappoints the team so much more than if he did not pretend to be a good leader to begin with. These are very common problems in leadership development. I can give you so many more examples of problematic understandings of leadership that I used for leadership development. And I will as we go through this video series about leadership together. But for now, I only hope to show you that you can't hope to develop leadership with inaccurate knowledge. This problem occurs because when academics identify human attributes and skills, they do not know the role these attributes and skills actually play in the process of developing leadership and leadership success because they are not practitioners. This is because for any skill, success relies on competency, not knowledge. It is not to say that knowledge is not important. Not at all. But where does it come from? How does it come about? Can be far more important. Let me explain. A competent leader has important leadership knowledge. An academic also has leadership knowledge. But their knowledge are completely different. The leader, because of his or her competency, knows how every piece of knowledge contributes to the actual development and success of leadership. They know how to interpret it. They know how to use it. They know when to use it. They know when you shouldn't use it. And they know how every piece of knowledge fits together on your journey of leadership development and leadership success. But the knowledge academic produces is fragmented. They gained knowledge through thinking, through reading, through interviewing and observation, where they pick up what they understand as associated with leadership, which is a perspective of a non-practitioner. But they don't actually know how important this knowledge is for leadership success. They don't know how each knowledge relates to each other or the exact role they play in different parts of a leadership development process. This is because successful academic career is about providing new insights and knowledge about leadership, not about actually achieving success with leadership. More importantly, if you have developed any skill, you know this, that developing a skill is a process. And in this process, your needs change. Certain knowledge is extremely important only at the beginning, when you are not competent, when you're just starting out to learn about the skill. And then as you become better, that information become not important. And then different knowledge become more relevant, become more important. And as you progress, the value of each knowledge change. This is because in real life practice, the value of knowledge is not objective, it's not universal. It lies in its ability to help you grow and develop. But academia allows scholars to produce knowledge about leadership for the sake of producing knowledge. This is why leadership knowledge produced by academics should not be automatically thought of as having impact on leadership success in the real world. And you will also find that academic scholars divide leaders only in two categories: either successful leader or unsuccessful leader. This is just like someone who cannot swim can only identify people who can and cannot swim. Someone who cannot speak a language can only identify if someone can or cannot speak that language. But for a practitioner, there are so many different levels of competency in every skill. As you know, there are so many different levels between someone who do not drown in the water and Olympic swimmer. There are so many levels between someone who can only use the language as a tool to communicate, to a poet, to an academic, to a salesperson. But they are all in the details that non-practitioners cannot even recognize. Because competency is not about reasoning, it's not about knowledge. It is an entire different relationship with the skill, with the world that involved in that process. It is a different reality. There are so many things you cannot even identify, you cannot even imagine to question if you are unable to see reality like someone who is more competent in the skill. So when a researcher goes to interview and observe, even action research that brings researchers into the real world to collect data, what they really identify about leadership reflects less about leadership success, more about their own level of competency regarding leadership skills. Leadership theorists are followers of thinking frameworks and research methods, not leaders. This is why none of them can guarantee that using their theories can result in real-life success. What an academic can do is only to persuade you that the way they came to the conclusion is logical. But leadership development uses these theories to develop leadership in the real world. There is no doubt that academic produces valuable knowledge about leadership. But the question is, should they decide what leadership is, and should their decisions be used to develop leadership in the real world, where real consequences lie? Personally, I do believe every individual has potential to become a successful leader, but not with the wrong information. So I hope this video has helped you to gain some understandings on the current limit in our leadership understanding, and also gain some insights on why leadership development doesn't work a lot of the time. I know you might have a lot of thoughts because this information is new, is unique, because it's original. And as a consequence, it can be very confronting. Please let me know your thoughts. Share your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed what you hear, if you appreciate the insights that you got, please like the video and share it with somebody you feel that this video can help. In the next episode, I want to turn to a more practical phenomenon about leadership. Is that since we put so much emphasis on good leadership, how come we still face so many incompetent leaders in our everyday lives? So I hope to see you there.